This reset in Destiny, Ava Levante is a hippie that refuses to leave your house because the holidays are over, yet she's still over here handing out presents. Hello everyone, my name is Matt Scorpion, and welcome to another week in Destiny with the reset. Now, I'm just going to say straight off the bat, I think I'm going to just smash Eververse into the reset update just to keep everything in one place. 2 videos just to make 20 minutes worth of video as opposed to making about 15 minutes worth of video. It seems to be the more streamlined option. So, getting into it, I'm sure as you can see, there is some leftovers of the Dawning going on, and yes, you can still interact with Ava Levante, and there is a few consumables that are left over in my inventory, but at the same time, the only thing she's really available for is turning any leftover essence and gifts into weapons. But that is literally it. There's no cookies, there's no nothing. All the other stuff is pretty much gone. So, while this is a weird bug, I imagine it'll be fixed pretty shortly. But aside from that, Iron Banner is once again back. It is a new mode, but aside from that, pretty much the only maintaining thing is, aside from a new visual, is that the weapons from previous season and this season are here, as well as the emblem that is new this season, as well as I imagine a shader. I just don't recall if there actually was one. Now, getting into the broad majority of other things, I didn't see any active boosters right off the bat, which makes me think that trials will be the boosted, either that or they just forgot to include a pop-up. But we'll get more into that. Now, the weekly Nightfall weapon is currently the Braytech Osprey, which this is the last in the rotation, which means, at least in terms of everything, I forget what was first, but I think the rotation goes Warden's Law, Loaded Question, Praestionyx, then Undercurrent, Uzume, and Braytech. Now, I think that's what it is, the first 3 possibly back and forth, but I know that at least the last 3 are Undercurrent, Uzume, and Braytech. That note, of course, Nightfall reward, or not double Nightfall, but Nightfall rewards will be awarding Nightfall ciphers if you want to buy one. But getting into it, the Nightfall this week is currently the Moon Battleground Arena, which this is the highest battleground, same as last season. Lots of scorn. While the boss itself isn't exactly that terrible, it is a sniper, so it will pick you off one shot, either one shot or very close to dead. The main problem is still the room before the boss, so yeah, it is a pretty chunky Nightfall to get through, although it is pretty manageable. Of all the of all the heist battlegrounds, I think this one is the most manageable of all of them. It just has one really big problem room. Modifiers including all 3 elemental shields, barrier, and unstoppable. You'll be dealing with barrier, I think barrier scorn. No, that doesn't exist. Barrier Knights and Unstoppable Scorn. So then Void Threat as well for incoming void damage being done. Then Grandmaster modifiers as usual. Extinguish, Limited Revives. Fire Pit when defeated acolytes spawning fire pools that cause damage over time. Chaff for no radar. And then our usual seasonal overcharge, as well as Strand and Solar Surge. And overcharged sniper rifles. So there actually is a reason to pull out a few snipers if you wish to spec out. And then getting into everything else, nothing new with Gambit. Yep, nothing new there. And like I said, it is Iron Banner Eruption, which is our current Iron Banner mode. Think of it like Cranked from Call of Duty. Basically, the more kills you get, the more score you earn in succession, as well as better ability recharge. And as well, that is pretty much it. There's no boosted Valor either, unlike last season, or unlike last Iron Banner. But aside from that, the variety modes, 6v6 quick play is Team Scorched, Checkmate Countdown is a 3v3 labs, Rumble for free-for-all, competitive 3v3 as usual, and then Showdown for 3v3 rotation. So, looking at it, the only way you can play basic Crucible of 6v6 and no altered variety is literally to play Iron Banner, which, you know, it is the Sweatfest as Iron Banner usual. Now, getting into the rest of the world, for our rotation stuff, King's Fall is currently our weekly farming raid, which means that all challenges are active. Master Mode has returned with access to its rated depths, as well as recovery-focused armor being earned from it, Strand and Solar, and Sniper Overcharge, just to copy and paste from everything else, and the usual modifiers as usual King's Fall, all 3 champions, 2 elemental shields in Solar and Arc, but, you know, the usual master modifiers as well, extra champions, extra shields, and maximum effective levels. Then our weekly farming mission is Vox Obscura, which the only reason to go through this, I would say, is to get something from Season 16 that you're missing. Thoughtless is a pretty good sniper rifle. Peace of Mind, if I recall, is one of the best pulse rifles for the Crucible crowd. But on that same respect, its exotic is pretty meh, so literally just do this to clear out the board and get red borders that you are missing, I would say. Then into Crota, just to keep the area. It is All for One, which if I recall is Crota Challenge. Basically, Everyone has to hit him with swords within a few seconds. Everyone has to knock down his shield in one swing. Or not one swing, but one use of swords. So at that respect, we also have Stroller Strand and Overcharge Glaive for Master Mode. And of course, it is Strength, Focused Armor, and Random Drops for Master Challenges, if you so wish to go for it. Then in terms of our farming dungeon, I am not entirely sure. It actually is Grasp of Avarice. So if you wanted to farm out some Artifice armor, this is probably the best place to do it for speed and efficiency. And there's Overcharge Rocket Launcher, so Rocket Strike can actually be pretty easy on top of Gallahorn, Apex Predator already getting surges. So yeah, there you go. It is a pretty solid farming week for Artifice armor. Then for the rest of the world, I'm just going to start darting out throughout the worlds for raid challenge modes. Current active Last Wish challenge is Forever Fight. Current active Garden of Salvation challenge is the Link to the Chain. Then for Europa, for Deepstone Crypt, it is currently the Core 4, which is Last Encounter 8-Tracks challenge. No, that's not 8-Tracks, that's 10-X challenge. Then for Vow of the Disciple, we have Base Information challenge, which is Caretaker challenge, if I'm not mistaken. Then going all the way back into Vault of Glass for that, its challenge is Strangers in Time, which is Gatekeeper challenge. Then one last thing, we have Root of Nightmares with Illuminated Torment challenge, First Encounter challenge. And while we're on Neomuna, the weekly farming mission is Desperate Measures, basically Final Stand against Callus. I forget if this is a final mission or the second to last mission. I always forget with Lightfall. Its campaign was kind of meh for its names. And then Ahimsa Park for our Vex Incursion Zone, and of course Partition Ordnance, which is the annoying one where the thing bumps you out the way the entire time. And from that respect, that is everything with Neomuna. Now for seasonal stuffs as well, just getting into everything. There is a next step in the unlocking the Wish Keeper bow. The next Catalyst as well as the next Intrinsic is out, so if you wish to further improve Wish Keeper and pick and choose what you wish out of it, then I'd recommend getting the next Constellation and Starcross Legendary mode. Then the coil. For the coil going into it, its modes and path is the Sensorium in the Pavilion, the First Steps in the Cell of the Sycophant, the Divining Hall, and the Sensorium in the Reaver's Orison. Which it seems like the Sensorium mode, which I think that's the one where you get Pervading Darkness the entire time. That is one of their popular ones, even though it's probably the most annoying one. And I got mistaken. So it's melee time as well. Overcharge Glaive and Overcharge Sword going into it, as well as Air Superiority for flying units doing increased damage, and a Void Threat and Attrition and Galvanize. That's pretty much perfect. But then Full Extinguish and Limited Revives and the usual for the coil. Then wrapping up the world happenings for Dares of Eternity Master or Legend mode, we currently have Fallen, Hive, and Zydron for that rotation. Now, that's pretty much the broad everything of the happenings in the world. Now, getting into it, I'll visit Eververse before visiting out the outliers. Now, on the front page, we got a few things, shaders and otherwise. We have Bruised Blush for Bright Dust, which is from Season of the Undying, which is basically a pinkish magenta and a purplish blue combination. And then another personal favorite, Carbon Blood. This is a black and red metallic if you wanted something that wasn't New Age Black Armory and didn't have a live effect. One of the best looking shaders in a while. Then we have the Twin Snake effects, which is basically the Gambit coin live action. And we have the Internal Combustion, a ornament for Lament, which is a retro kind of look for it. It does look pretty nifty. The colors are a bit off, but at the same time, pretty cool look for Lament. Very, it's not cyberpunk, but very old metal. How about that? And then we have the Poultry Petting. Now, YouTube, don't get angry at me because this is a context for whenever you hear your teammates saying, I'm just touching my cock, they are touching the chicken in their hands. Then into the Bright Dust section for more flares, we have Smashing Success, which I think is a Gallagher and Watermelon just combination. If it would load, it doesn't seem like it wants to, but there is a lot of green and a bit of purple, very watermelon looking. And then we also have Bloody Tooth, which kind of similar to Carbon Blood if this one will load too, but it seems like it won't. Think of it like a dark black, brown, and then a dark bloodish red on it. If it will... Oh, actually, nope, there it was. And there we go. Yep, like I described. And just double back for smashing success. This wishes to load. Yep, there we go. Green and purple. Kind of hulkish now that I think of the smashing part too. And then we also have polished sea stone, which is a nice metallic carbon-ish kind of look. It's dark blue and a dark green. I actually really like this. I just wish it was on a different set of armor. Maybe something stasis or strandish. Then Aposematism, which is a nice black and orange that I was using for quite some time. Personal favorite of mine as well, alongside Carbon Blood. Then for transmats, we have the Warsat Arrival, which is spawning out of a Warsat Rasputin style. The Pyramid Entrance, which is spawning out of the Pyramid Witness style. And then we have the Dreaming Shimmer, not Shitter, which is a weird basic thing turned purple. And then for emotes, we have one from last season, the yo-yo trick, which, just to put a extra view on it, you are playing with the yo-yo until it catches fire. And then you actually take your eye out. And then we have the Unyielding March, which is a multiplayer emote in case you just want to look like a goof with your friends. Oh, wait, is this I think this is that one meme from, I forget the meme, but it's one of those funk songs where it's the really old pirate cartoon, which I didn't think that actually existed. And then we have the Sheriff Shell from last season as well, which is a very Tex Mechanical looking shell. Forget if this was in relation to anything, or if it was just a look, but, you know, there we go. And we have the Prometheus OSP, which looks like a very retro, just starship, astronaut ship, like the old Apollos and the like. And then we also have the Ferocious Roar, new to this season. If you saw the Dragon set, this is the Sparrow that goes with it. Of course, a nice billowing flame out the back, which I might actually pick up just because with the speed change, I was actually looking for something different other than always on time. And then the Ceremonial Arsenal, which is a nice, very clean retro look for Navigator, in case the basic black wasn't your pick and you wanted something a little more gilded and woodworked. Very nice looking. And last, as always, we have a side-eye projection, which is basically just that. And it's very basic. And the logo for it isn't even looking in the right direction. Then to wrap it up with Banshee and Ada. Now, like I said, I imagine the Dawning stuff will be fixed relatively soon, but there's not exactly anything broken with it existing long-wise, so just expect it to be here for a bit. For Banshee and his weapons, we have a few. Whispering Slab, which is a lightweight kinetic bow. Still quite outdated. It is pretty nifty. I've seen some use of it in the Crucible crowd, but at the same time, this isn't exactly a Crucible roll, and it's still a lightweight bow, the weakest of all the damage per shot arrows. Speaking of which, Timeline's Vertex, another outdated one. This one's all the way back from Season 10. Definitely could use a restoration in terms of its perks, or maybe even a new origin trait if they wanted to bring back some faction looks, even if they just make it field tested. Then Austringer, another weapon to use if your deep side harmonizer's on. While this does rotate in and out of the raid rotator, or the exotic mission rotator, if you are still missing a bunch of others, there's still a chance this one won't drop for a long while. So if you want to secure it, I don't know if you can deep side harmonize it from here, but then again, it's a source if you just want one. This is actually a pretty solid roll for Crucible, although I imagine people will want something other than triple tap. Rangefinder still got nerfed though. And then we also have Ogma PR6, which is a lightweight frame pulse rifle. Not craftable, however, even though I kind of wish it was. It has some pretty decent perks, but at the same time, I think this is pretty much another Crucible option. And then we have Bump in the Night, which is another one from that same string of Austringer. If once Presage comes around, this is farmable. Would recommend it if you just need a basic rocket launcher and you can't get any of the ones from raids. But at the same time, what made it an OP one isn't exactly around anymore, so if you need a placeholder, this one can work. And to wrap everything up, another returning shader that I think I just covered 2 weeks ago, Cinderchar, which is a look. I believe it was on some of the Menagerie ornaments from way back when. New Pacific Rush, not worn, which is a nice blue look if you wanted to match your Titan rep or look a lot like Sloane in her armor. And then Dead Orbit's Fate, another one of those blue rarity shaders from Dead Orbit that looks great just because it is a clean and slick white and black combination. And with that, that is everything from the reset. Now, like I said, I'm probably going to go ahead and keep mashing these all together. Might shift up the order just because I forget how I do it, although I might standardize that a little bit more. So if you would rather me keep it into 2 respective videos, let me know. Or if you would rather me keep them mashed together, but I do a little more refining, add chapters just so you can skip ahead for what you want, let me know as well. My name is Matt Scorpion, and I will see you in the next video.